of the day. What is this? Somebody just passed me here this morning. Sliced turkey, breast, rosemary gray. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Marketing Cool TV Show. Robert Gatewiood, your host, and I'm here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Somebody just passed me something here this morning. It says sliced roast turkey breast, rosemary gravy, sliced smoked ham, herb cornbread stuffing, orange cranberry relish, green beans, and crispy onions, garlic mashed potatoes, sweet mashed potatoes, dinner rolls, sweet potato pie, ginger snap pumpkin pie. Man, it must be the season. Something's going on here. But I'll tell you what's happening here. Folks, we're about to go into a holiday weekend next week. This will be the last show before the Thanksgiving holiday. And I guess, actually, this is a menu item from one of our sponsors, Kirksey Catering. Miss Sheila Kirksey doing a great job over there catering. And I'll tell you what I was thinking today, because today is actually this month, National Caregivers Month. And man, that really just strikes a personal chord with me, because there are some people out here who are committing themselves, really, their lives, they're putting their own lives on hold for the sake of taking care of someone else. This month should be celebrated and shouted out from the mountaintops. This is National Caregiver Month. My own mom, she's under the care right now of my sister, and she has basically put her life on hold. She moved my mom into her home. She retired from her job. She has been protecting her, fiercely. She won't even let us in the house because of this COVID. So I say to my sister Ellen and all the caregivers out there, we celebrate you this morning. We celebrate you, I'm going to say, the rest of this year and forever. National Caregivers Month. If you know somebody who falls into that category, don't give them a real hug. Now we got to do the virtual hug nowadays. don't kill them by hugging them with COVID. Give them a virtual hug. Send them some. I tell you what I'm going to do. I was reading this sliced turkey dinner from one of our caterers. If you know someone, a caregiver, and they need a break, if they're in the DC area, sorry folks, if you're out in China or down in Nigeria or Kansas, maybe another day. But if you're in the DC area, the nation's capital where we broadcast, and you know such a person, and you want to show some love for them this holiday season, the marketing pulpit is going to, at no charge, send them this sliced turkey breast dinner, courtesy of the marketing pulpit. So if you know somebody, I want you to send that information to me, and we will have that meal sent to them, courtesy of the marketing pulpit. I'm putting my information across the screen. You can call my office. Now there's going to be some restrictions. We may have to have it picked up. It depends on their situation. We may have it delivered to them. But I want to do that for the caregivers out here. We will gladly send them a nice holiday dinner, courtesy of the Marketing Pulpit TV show. Now, I'm going to extend this also. If you know somebody else also who has maybe been downsized or very negatively impacted by this COVID-19, and they're in the DC area, give me their information. I'm gonna put a cap on it. So I'm gonna say the first 5. I'm gonna feed you this holiday season. And I understand from Miss Kirksey, even though this plate generally serves one person, I understand this thing will probably serve 2 or 3. So if this is like a couple, we'll be glad. If you've lost your job, you've been downsized, you're kind of, your money's a little short, the marketing pulpit is glad to offer this for you during this holiday season. And I would do it until we run out of food, at least the first 5. So I do have some restrictions here. But like I said, if it goes up to 10, I'm sure we have sponsors out here and people who are willing to commit and make sure that nobody suffers, or at least this time of year, we're showing thanks to the people who are, particularly the caregivers, but anybody who's facing economic difficulty this year. We want to help put a nice hot Thanksgiving meal in front of them, courtesy of the marketing pulpit. I think our sponsor, Kirksey Catering, Miss Sheila Kirksey, for helping make this possible. I talked to her yesterday. She said, Robert, let me know after the show so I know how many turkeys I need to order. So anyway, let's do that. This is the Marketing Pulpit. Go to marketingpulpit.com and you'll see the information on how to reach the show, find out more about the past shows, our guests. And I want to thank everybody who's tuning in by Facebook, Twitter, uh, YouTube, and hello, Brother Clyde there. Glad to see you this morning. Now he knows what I'm talking about. My sister Ellen and the great job she's doing as a caregiver for our dear mom, Miss Geneva Gady Gatewiood, wife of the late Dr. Reverend W.H. Gatewiood. And to all of the caregivers out here and those in their care, we wish you a happy holiday, happy Thanksgiving, and beyond. I'm going to bring in my co-host this morning, great young lady. She joins me the third Friday of every month. And that's Weena Cullen. She's a licensed family therapist. And I'm going to welcome her to the show this morning. Good morning, Weena. Good morning to the show. Welcome to
Good
the
morning,
show.
Robert. How are you this morning?
I am doing great. So good to see you. And you're always a breath of sunshine. You
Thank you so much.
have such a glow and such a positive spirit. And I'm glad to have you on the show every third Friday. Why don't you do this? There are a couple of folks probably in the world who may not know who you are. I can't imagine who they might be. But just in case, why don't you quickly introduce yourself again, tell us what you do and all that good stuff.
Sure. I'm Weena Cullins, as you previously stated, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I have a private practice in the DC metropolitan area, and I'm also a clinical writer for lots of mainstream media platforms. You may have seen articles that I've written about relationship issues in NBC Online, MSN, Huffington Post, Brides Magazine, mindbodygreen.com, you name it, I'm writing for them about all the things that you want to know about how to have healthy and successful relationships.
Wow. And I'm actually proud of you. I have one thing
Mhm.
I like about you and other people who come onto this show. We're
Yeah,
not happy to sit where we are. We like to keep moving up. We like to keep moving up.
true.
And so you have been the epitome of that. I love that cup. My goodness. I got one
Mhm.
toast. So I got your back.
Great minds think alike.
I hear you. All right. Say, Janice Smith down in North Carolina, daycare provider down there. Thank you, Janice, for joining us this morning on the show. I see Daniel Gatewood, Alice. She says she's on Daniel's Facebook page. She says great things we are doing. Thank you, Alice. Love you too. Love you too. For you and your family, the Carson family down in North Carolina. Thank you for tuning in and for being a great sister-in-law. Thank you. Love you back. And to everybody tuning in, if you want to join the conversation, go ahead and jump on the Facebook feed, and we will shout you out if you want to engage in the conversation this morning. We have a lot to talk about today. This is a season of giving, a season of thanks. So we're theming the show today, Holiday Matters. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about safety, boy, and we also going to talk about sanity.
That's a good one.
You know, and
Yeah.
that's Weena talking now, y'all. I'm telling you, that's Weena. Don't put that on me. But Weena thinks that Weena's going to try to help us navigate this holiday. Weena, what are you going to talk about later on?
Woo! Robert, it is so
Help us
difficult.
fix it, Jesus.
It's so difficult to even approach it. But today I want to talk about infection fatigue and the holidays and how gathering with family members and friends for the holidays has literally become a life or death situation. And I want to just open up the dialogue about what Americans are deciding to do for the holidays because a survey is telling us what could happen over the holidays. And I want to make sure that we're all prepared to stay safe.
Well, thank you very much. Looking forward to that coming up at the top of the hour. And I'm going to talk about also as we get ready to go into this holiday season, we're going to talk about how to prepare your business to give you some business survival strategies as we go into this holiday season. I'm going to give you two words to apply to everything that I talk about, not just for this segment coming up later on, but really for as you go into holiday season from a business perspective. The first one is safety. If you're looking for a buzzword to get your customers' attention, I don't care what you're talking. I don't care what you're selling. They want to feel safe. If
I'm
you're a
really
cleaning
taking.
company, if you're a caterer, if you're a therapist, a marketing company, they're not going to do business with you if they don't feel safe.
Yes.
The number two thing is virtual. Think virtual, think technology. You have to have the tools to deliver that service in a different way. Your distribution channel has to be broadened, and
Yes.
the two work hand in hand. That safety can be augmented by virtual technology. So if you're not familiar with Zoom and some of these platforms out here, I ask you to do a crash course. Get on board, folks. Let me tell you, the folks who have stepped up to the plate and increased their technical capacity, they are doing, many of them are doing not only fine, some are actually excelling. They're going beyond their previous pre-pandemic. And my company has been no exception because we have not missed a beat. And just tune into this show on a regular basis. Just listen to me and some of the guests, people like Weena, the wellologist, Falacia Day, the folks of PLD, and the great guests we bring on here. And we're not just up here to toot our horn. What we want to do, use that approach of a rising tide lifting all boats. If we do well, and you do well, we hope the community does well. That means we can hire people, we can start being independent as a community, and stop being so dependent on our people outside the community. And we're watching these other communities excel, come in and pass our community. It doesn't have to be that way, and that's why the marketing pulpit has this mission to build strong businesses in our community and putting our people to work. You're listening to the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewiood, your host, and I have with me my co-host, Weena, a therapist. She's going to talk about later on about how to stay sane and safe and how it really is a matter of life and death coming up at the 11 o'clock hour. I'm going to talk about a couple of items in the news. And also I'm going to put out my offer today, not an offer, but just a way of saying thank you to the caregivers out here and to the people who are struggling right now, just telling you to hang on in there. And if I can't do anything else, I give out as much free advice as I can. I I've done it. I mean, like I said, I'm not the one that I don't like to do a lot of boasting about what I do, but sometimes it's hard to get it out there if you don't talk about it. So I am going to talk about one thing that I'm doing this holiday season. I'm going to be giving out free dinners. If you know someone who's a caregiver who can't get out, who's struggling, who's working with somebody who has somebody in their care, then yeah, we're going to bring you a dinner. We're going to have a dinner available for you, courtesy of Kirksey Catering. Also, if you know somebody who's struggling, whether they are a caregiver or not, and they need some help, I'm not going to rest this holiday sitting there eating big pieces of pie and turkey, knowing that people out here who don't have it. So I want to enjoy so I have a selfish motive here, okay? I want to enjoy my turkey, and I'm not going to enjoy it if I know other people don't have that same privilege. So you do me a favor. If you know somebody who needs it, I'm putting my information across the screen. Send me an email or call my office, and we would take the information. We can do it. You don't have. We can do it anonymously. We're not going to put your name out here in the street. I mean, we need to know who's going to get it, or how if you're going to be picking it up, or if you're going to be delivering it to somebody else. We'll take your information. This is an honor system. We're not going to put you through the ringer. We're not going to say, "Hey, show me that you need it." I'm going to trust that if you call us, then the need is there either for you or somebody you know. And until we run out of food, then we're going to take the orders and make sure we get that meal in somebody's hand. Before we do the news, we're going to do a quick break. I want to thank everybody again tuning in from all over the world. See Mr. Daryl Brown. He has a great Eternity Plumbing, and he says hello, Weena, as well.
Hey,
This is
Daryl.
the Marketing Pulpit TV show. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to talk about how this pandemic and some of the other things happening right now are affecting people. And we invite you to feedback, give us any of your commentary. You can put it in the feed here. And also like to thank our sponsors, and we'll show some of those during the break. So this is the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I am Robert Gatewiood, your host, and I have today with me Weena. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after. All right, let's see here. Oh, I got one more here. Don't go in.
My name is Rayford Lee Brown Sr. I am the owner and founder of B&B Cleaning Services, LLC. We are a janitorial floor cleaning and property maintenance business.
Brad was an attorney, and some years ago he brought to our attention that the music that we had recorded back in the 70s that we lost control over because we were inexperienced.
Do you wanna dance? Do you wanna sing? Do you wanna shake?
Righty. Thank you again. Thank you for tuning in today. This is the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewiood, your host, and we are here every Friday, 10:30 a.m., bringing you the good marketing gospel. I have my co-host today, Weena. Thank you for joining me today, Weena. I like
Happy
that
to be
name,
here,
Weena.
Robert.
I must went bit, Weena. You're the only Weena I know in the entire world.
I think there are only 56 in the world.
56.
Yep, surprised that it's that many, right?
Well, if there's only 56, I am glad that you are the one of the 56 that I know, because I picked
Thank
the
you.
right one to know. All right, look, folks, this pandemic, and this is not to be a downer, but this pandemic is this thing is it's here to stay for a minute. And
Oh, yeah.
what do you think, Wayne? What's going on there?
Yeah, I don't want you to steal my thunder, but we are facing a very, very brutal winter and holiday season. And I'm here to talk about that today because no, it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
For instance, in California, they just set a new curfew from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. So right now, if you're in California, they're saying, look, get off the street from 10 p.m. to 5 p.m. We don't want to see your face until 5 a.m. in the morning. That just tell you what's, and I'm sure in the state of Maryland, they're working on some, I think already started phasing in some new lockdown measures, not as rigid as they were before. But the bottom line is, you got to start looking at this as a long-term condition. This is not something that you just, let me just wait until this is over, then I'm going to go ahead and start making plans to do A, B, and C. No,
Right.
this is becoming a way of life, and you need to adapt, particularly if you're a business owner. And like you said, we have the holiday coming up. So, and we have Thanksgiving coming up, then we have Christmas after that, we have New Year's, and so on and so forth. So you really got to start looking at this in a more permanent way. Uh, End of the year, we're looking at about 12 million Americans are going to lose their jobless benefits.
Wow.
Talk about bad
Wow.
timing. So
Huh.
people sitting here eating their turkey and they're changing gifts. Hopefully they'll cut back on some of that. You know what, Winnie, this is hard to say though, because
Uh-oh.
when we tell people to cut back on buying and exchanging gifts, if you are a business owner, is that a good thing?
Right. Right. If you have a product or a service that you're intending to sell, and folks are, kind of closing up the pocketbooks and tightening the wallets, then that might be bad for business.
So I've got to say that tongue in cheek. If I start telling folks to stop spending and they start spending with me, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not going to be on there. So
Right.
we have to be very nuanced about this hold on to your money kind of thing. I think what we have to do, we have to rethink how we have to revisit our relationship with money. Let's put that
Yeah.
money on things that's going to yield us some type of return, so that we're not just spending money on Christmas gifts that you're going to end up throwing away after a few weeks, and or stuff you're doing gratuitous, perfunctory gifts. We need to be doing things that's going to actually yield some type of benefit. So yes, I'm going to say, I'm not going to say don't spend any money. I'm going to say let's look at how we spend that money, and particularly when it comes to supporting our neighborhood and local and small businesses. So yes, there will be layoffs coming. There will be benefits running out, and if you must spend, I say let's spend it in a way that's going to get you some more return. Now I've been Wayne, I've been had quite a few businesses to contact me in the past few weeks, and I'm telling you the truth, Wayne, I've been really, I have not been doing a good job of sales. Not because I'm not a salesman, and I'm not a very real salesman. Not that I don't want to sell, or it's just not part of my, that it's not part of the business model. It's just
Right.
that I don't want to take anybody's money unless I'm 100% sure that I
Mm.
can make that money work for them. Now, I've
Right.
always had that mentality in a general sense, but it has been heightened during this pandemic because people have come to me, and I tell folks, look, I don't want your mortgage money. I really don't. I don't want your
I
last
see.
dollar. That's too much pressure for me. So,
But
I mean, I'm
rather,
plenty
people
of
have
things
to
to talk
take a
about.
calculated risk, though, right? They have to sometimes invest in themselves, or they'll be stuck in the same place. So
Yes.
now what?
Well, that means I have to step up my game, and I have to make sure that before I take that money, one, that I can help them. So that is,
Right.
I mean, that's almost a sales in itself. If I take your money, that means you're going to be better off. But when I look at numbers of people losing their jobless benefit, they're coming to me and saying, look, man, my last hope. Man, that's a lot of burden to put on his head.
Oh, now you know how I feel.
Yeah. I'm laying at the bed staring up at the ceiling at night. Like, oh my God, I just took such and such money. They going baby might not get any milk if I don't take back man gonna be outside that door. I'm like, man, that's too much stress. I can't handle it. So I have not been putting a hard sale on anybody. You come to me,
Yeah.
Jack. Now I'm saying that's I think that's a responsible thing to do. I always feel like you're gonna be better off than you were
Right.
without me. But
Right.
there is a added pressure now because many people are down. They have left their jobs, they've been laid off, and they're looking at entrepreneurship as the new avenue to building their economic foundation and really just to live. And
Yeah.
so people like you and myself, we have a heightened sense of responsibility. We have to really be the top of our game to make sure that what we are doing, we're actually benefiting people. And I say that to every business out here. As you go into this season and you start working with people and you realize that how precious money is, step up your game, over deliver, exceed expectations. Make that part of your business culture and part of your brand. It has worked for me. That's why I don't have to make a big adjustment because we do that anyway. But I'm asking other
Right.
business owners to take that extra step to up their game and make sure that when you deliver, you over deliver and you can sleep at night knowing you did your darn best. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Southwest Airlines is about to lay off 400 people, mechanics, technicians,
Mm. Wow.
folks.
It's
Now,
really
here's an
hard out
interesting,
here. Yeah. Go ahead.
go ahead, Glenn.
No, I was just marveling at that. Now, we all know that the airline industry is in the toilet because folks are just not traveling to stay safe. And they've been doing as much as they can to keep everybody safe. But it's just nowhere near where it was just 11 months ago. I mean, this is
Oh,
absolutely insane. It was inevitable, but it's still hard to hear the news.
yes, yes. Now, here's an interesting story. Hundreds of companies that got stimulus money aid have failed. I'm gonna
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna have to ask my accountant folks about this. So 300 companies that have received as much as a $500 million in pandemic related government loans have filed for bankruptcy. A
Mm.
$500 million, that's just 300 companies. And that includes a total of about 25,000 workers. The funds for this payroll protection program weren't enough to keep them afloat. And we're
Mm.
about to do another loan package coming out, hopefully before the year is out. It may not. It may roll into 2021. But what happens? I'll have to get my accountant back on here to answer that question. What happens when you get these PPP loans and the EIDL and you
Yeah.
fold? Do you have to dig in your pocket and pay it back? Do they
Mm.
send Uncle Sam send the goons to collect? That's a good question. But my point is, sometimes money is one of the problems. The industry that you're in is another. Some industries, money just not going to save. Okay, some of
Yeah.
these small restaurants, I don't care how much money you give them. If people are not coming in the store and you have not adjusted, if you're not doing delivery, if you haven't signed up with Uber Eats and you're waiting
Right.
on weather so they can sit outside, no amount of money in the world is going to save you. So this is my
Yeah.
advice to people who are getting this money. You may have to take that money and talk to somebody like myself, and you may have to do a pivot. Throwing money after a bad business model during a pandemic is not going to save. It's just going to
Mm.
extend. It's just going to stretch it out. It's going to delay the inevitable. You got to look at your business model. What did I say earlier? Safety and virtual.
Virtual.
I don't care what business you're in. Business owners under the sound of this. Safety, virtual. You have to convince people that you are safe, and you have to have the technology to deliver that service other than a face-to-face encounter. Now, some companies like to say, if you're a cleaning company, I haven't seen a way yet you clean a house from the over Zoom. Maybe I just haven't seen it. But maybe you can start giving instructions or doing workshops on how to keep your house clean during the pandemic. Go from a functionary to an instructor or a consultant in certain areas. I remember the economic boom of the housing industry many years ago. This was back in 2000, 2006, 2007, 2008, where the thing just
Oh
fell in the
yeah.
toilet. I mean, real estate agents, they're working at McDonald's, they're out here cutting grass, they're doing all kind of things. But many of them became consultants. They start teaching people how to do short sales. They start doing seminars on how to flip homes. So you've got to get out of
Mm.
that old way of thinking when you're facing this pandemic and think about how much knowledge I've been doing this thing for 20, 30, 40 years. Can I translate and leverage that knowledge into some type of online course, some type of consulting industry, maybe
Yeah.
outsource your services to some of these big companies that are trying to, they got the conscience, they got the guilt thing going on. They're trying to support small and black businesses. Don't just let these numbers happen to you. Don't let things happen. You got to get out here and really take a stronger approach and try to fight back. Really. Now here's one you may find interesting,
What's
Weena.
that?
Many people thought that there would be a baby boom at the end of this pandemic, but the opposite has happened. They're
Mm.
expecting a drop in births. What's up with that? I know that's up your alley.
Oh
Are people just
yeah.
tired?
There's
Hey, look,
there's going to be a decrease in
yeah.
children being born and an increase in separations and divorce. That's for sure.
Hey, look.
I'm
I didn't like you before the pandemic. You know I'm not gonna give you anything here doing it. You better get away from me.
Yeah, this is not exactly snowmageddon where you're snowed in for a week or two and it's nice because everybody needed a break, but you still have your job and you know that once the snow is cleared and the roads are clear, you can get back to work. This is a pandemic that has wiped out people's employment, healthcare benefits, as you said. It's got everybody under one roof and definitely working and schooling from home. Folks are not having babies right now. And if they are, thank goodness you are happy.
But you know what? And you are good. But I was trying to figure out what was the difference between this and like snowmageddon, where people are. You know that when that snow melts, you're gonna go back to business as usual. So you just got
Yeah,
a little love holiday.
we got a break. Right. This is not exactly a break.
You stuck there that person now for like what since March, almost 10 months, 8 months. It's like, man,
Absolutely.
you better get away from me. You better get out of that basement because when this thing is over, we over.
Right.
You definitely not making no babies. That makes sense. I get it now. I get it. Here's some information for you folks who are still out there being brave. These are the industries that where you have the highest risk of catching COVID-19. You want to guess one of them,
Mm.
Wayne?
No, tell me. I'm so curious though.
And you probably know when I said you're gonna say, oh yeah, obviously. Hotels. I ain't going to nobody's hotel.
Oh,
I'm not going to anybody's hotel. I'm sorry. I don't care. I mean I want the workers to get paid and the maids and the people, they need work too. But man, I'm
yeah.
telling you, I just can't do it. I mean, you laying on a bed that somebody was in, using a sink that somebody's been in, and I'm just saying, can you get that thing clean enough ever?
Well,
I just don't know about that.
if
Much as
you
I
are
want,
lucky enough to have the last can of Lysol in the DMV, then perhaps you can go in and spray down touch points and sterilize and disinfect and potentially come out unscathed, Robert.
and good morning to Laura. Laura, welcome to the show. She says hello there, Weena.
Hey, Laura.
Oh, Laura's busy. She's out there, man. She got that side hustle of making these cakes and pies and
Ooh.
man, oh, they good. They good. So welcome. I hope you're finding some time, Laura, to rest between your many things that you're doing. And I know that phones are jumping off the hook now. But anyway, if y'all looking for a good cake, check out lauralayton.com. She got some great pastries and pies and cakes and just a great baker and great person. Uh, so that was number one. Well, that was they're not in necessarily order. I'm just these are the top three. The second one is gyms. Once again,
Oh.
man, you can pay me to. I'm not knocking the gym industry. These folks got to work too. But if I mean, I don't really go to the gym anyway. I do my exercises at home or in the office. I come in the office, drop down, and do my push-ups every day, and then
Sure you
I
do,
take the
Robert.
stair. Well, I at least got to say it, right? That's the goal. I'm trying to encourage other people up in here. But
January
really,
1, I'm sure you'll be on top of it.
wait, really, I do 25 push-ups every single day,
Oh,
and if I
that's
and
amazing.
if I miss a day, I'll do 30 the next day.
Not
And
50?
only, huh?
Not 50?
I used to do 50, but man, I tell you, that was killing me. Man, I tell you what happened with it. I was dreading it so bad I started missing days. I don't
Mm-hmm.
dread 25 so much, but it's just like dieting. If you tell somebody they got to eat lettuce all day long, they're gonna eventually just stop doing it. And that's the way I
Right.
started looking at 50 push-ups. I'm like, man, I just
But if
can't do it.
but if you miss a day, then you don't double up the next day. You only add 5 on the next day.
Yeah.
All right,
Look,
Robert. I see what kind of plan you're on.
I have to do it works, okay. No, it's not perfect. Okay, so it's hotels, gyms. Now I know you know the last one, Weena. You gotta know this one. Roll the dice. Come on.
No, hit me with it. Hit me with your best shot. What is
Restaurant.
it? Ah,
Restaurant.
maybe that should have been number one.
Well, that was number one. Wait, that's the order they had them in.
Okay,
I'm
gotcha.
mixing it up.
Okay,
And now restaurants, they have a dubious distinction of being sit down, and then they have the other things
carry
like
out.
drive in.
Yeah,
So when they say restaurants are risky, they're really talking about the sit down
indoor
and
dining.
the indoor dining, basically. Because I
Yeah.
go to Mac, because this cup, you may think there's water in here, you may think it's vodka, but that's actually, I went through the drive-through of a fast food place, been doing it almost since the pandemic. And then, I mean, I'm not on wood, but I think the drive-throughs and things like that are somewhat safer, but I wouldn't go
Mhm.
inside. And
Mhm.
once again, restaurants got to eat too. They have staff, they have people that need jobs. So I'm not going to say don't go to a restaurant, but what I am going to say, be safe. Be safe. I mean, it's hard to eat though with a mask on. I haven't figured that one out yet. How does that work?
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna talk about all of that coming up. This
Okay.
this idea of being safe is just it's so complicated.
All right. One more news story. We're going to jump off here, take another break, and come back. And I can't wait to hear Wiener's segment. Now here's one that I really don't want to report on, but it is a fact, folks. We might as well tell the whole story. We keep it real here. Racial tensions have helped fuel the rise of gun ownership.
Oh
particularly
yeah.
among blacks.
Oh
I
yeah.
know that people on the right and the people of other demographics seem to believe that if stuff jumps off, they have all the guns. But there was an article in the I think I got off the wire. This guy Luther Thompson said he had never thought about owning a gun. Matter of fact, he didn't even like guns. But he said people are just different now. He said they're bold with their racism. They will attack you. They will insult you. They will threaten you. And he
Yeah.
said, I had to do this to protect my family. And this was a young man who said he had never, matter of fact, he doesn't even like guns. So, what I want to say in that regard, people just need to calm down.
Mm.
We need leadership right now to calm this nation. Guns are not the answer. I'm just going to tell you. Because what happens when you get a gun, and I'm not even saying don't get a gun. I'm saying if that's what you need to do what you got to do. But I'm saying if you're going to get a gun, be safe. Thankfully, in the state of Maryland, they have some very strict rules. You have to take a licensing course. You have to actually take a training course in gun ownership and safety before they even give you a license. You can't walk into a store and just buy a gun. Also,
Yeah.
in the state of Maryland, you can't carry a gun on you. You can't even have it in your car. You can
Yeah.
only have that gun to transport it from the place you bought it to home or back and forth from the gun range. Any other time you're breaking the law. So if you're gonna, I say to the jurisdictions that allow people to have guns in DC, you can't even have a gun. Period. Let's make sure that gun safety is a priority. And if you are a gun owner, you're more likely to commit suicide. You're more likely to kill a family member. You're more likely
Mm.
to shoot somebody accidentally. So think twice and think safety. Once again, safety is a buzzword, even when we're talking about something as dubious as gun ownership. We're going to take a quick break. Also, thank everybody for tuning in all over the world. This is the Marketing Pulpit TV show. Go to marketingpulpit.com and follow the show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook, like us on Twitter, and go there and look at the past shows and find out more about our guests and our co-hosts, people like Weena. And then we're going to take a quick break and come back. We're going to talk about, man, Weena got a lot to talk about. This could be life and death, folks. You might end up strangling somebody to death over this holiday. I'm not sure that's what she was talking about, but I'm sure that's a possibility as well. So,
Robert, you are a mess.
all right, folks, hang on. This is the Marketing Pool, but we'll be right back after the break. I do want to say a quick word about our sponsors. BLE Executive Suites, Miss Bernadette Clay and Company, they have been sponsoring this show for, wow, the past 10 years. Thank you, BLE.
Wow.
They are a company that takes safety seriously and technology. So they are one of these companies that's following that advice of safety. You come into their office, they got the plexiglass up there at the counter. They got the little places where you're supposed to stand. They sanitize the rooms and things when people use them. So let's support this company. If you need phone services, some of those virtual services we talked about, they have it over here at BLE Executive Suites. Call them at 301-322-1700 or go to blesuites.com. Also, our sponsor, B&B Cleaning Services. If you have a business, you have a real estate company, and you're trying to clean those properties so people feel safe going into them, then call Mr. Rayford Brown at B&B Cleaning Services. And of course, Kirksey Catering. They are delivering this holiday season. They're still catering. People are still having events. They're still having gatherings. And they are putting big emphasis on safety. And also, if you go to marketingpulpit.com, we have a section on the website for sponsors. I know we run these ads, they come and go pretty fast. So you can go to Marketing Pulpit. Just click on that sponsorship link, and you can actually look at those ads and get their information on your leisure. Thanks again for everybody tuning in around the world. This is the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewiood. I have with me today my co-host, Weena. I like that name. Weena. Only 56 in the world. And I got the
Only
best one right here,
56.
y'all. I don't know what the other wieners look like or talk about or what skills are. We got the number one wiener.
I like that. The number
We got the
one
good one.
winner.
Number one wiener. That's a slogan. That's a
That one's
tagline for
gonna
you.
stick. It's gonna stick.
Wiener, jump right
What's
in,
up?
please. Get us out of suspense. Please jump in.
Hey y'all, today I'm here to talk about this infection fatigue and the holidays. The holidays are quickly approaching, and I mean, Thanksgiving is actually on Thursday at this point. And I want to talk about what Americans are actually planning to do for the holidays, despite the fact that we are in the midst of the pandemic and it has been raging on for the last 8 to 10 months. Quarantine has been happening for at least 8 months now. And Robert, did you know that a national survey indicates that 40% of Americans are planning to gather for Thanksgiving with 10 or more people present at the gathering?
Say it ain't so. This is old. This can't be. This from last year, right? This was pre-pandemic.
This is from today.
Oh,
And I think it's safe to say that Americans are over coronavirus and our infection fatigue is really revealing itself with our holiday choices right now. So let me describe what infection fatigue is so that we're all on the same page.
please.
And yes, well, and you already know what it is. Infection fatigue is the exhaustion that all of us feel from all of the ways that the coronavirus has changed our lives. And the first way that it causes us to make some interesting decisions is that we feel like we need to withdraw or stop paying attention to the news and what's happening with coronavirus around the world. It has been the number one headline, aside from, of course, what's happening with the leadership and our government over the last 8 months. And because of that, it makes us want to tune out and actually try to get a little bit of normalcy going in a time when the doom and gloom can just be too much. Do you know what I'm
Mm.
talking about, Robert?
I am exhausted. Let's put it that way. So if it's fatigue and exhaustion are the same,
Yeah.
I am your number one fatigued person. Yes.
Yeah, and so even when I'm coming onto the show and I have another topic that relates to coronavirus, you kind of get that feeling in the pit of your stomach, like, ugh, I know people don't want to hear anything else about coronavirus, but the tides have turned this fall, and particularly this month, we have seen such a surge in cases that to be tuned out right now is extremely dangerous. And
Mm-hmm.
you talked about that a little bit earlier, right? That we have 11.8 million cases in our country alone. This morning, Japan's cases have risen. They've reached an all time high. And we've reported over 252,000 deaths. We talked about the restrictions that have been placed on us in Maryland now. We have a travel advisory, warning us not to travel out of the state to places that have a positivity rate over 10%. And there are a lot of hot spots right now that are like rising, rising, rising every day. And our own positivity rate is over 7% right now.
Mm.
So because of that, being tuned out is a really, really critical mistake. And we're going to have to put some measures in place to make sure that at least once a week, we're still tuning into the headlines or jumping on social media to see what's happening in our local area so that we know that we still have to move with a sense of caution and have a sense of urgency around protecting folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So first things first, we got our infection fatigue going, and how is that gonna impact us as we're thinking about doing Thanksgiving? I just told you all that 40% of us, we as Americans, have decided that we are still going to gather. We're going to go into people's homes, whether it's friends or family members, take off our
Oh,
masks because Robert, as you said, we haven't figured out how to eat without our mask on, right?
I
And we're
tried it, Weena.
going to,
I tried it. I had a chicken leg the other day.
A
That thing
chicken
would not
leg.
go through that mask, no matter how much I tried. I tried to wiggle it up under it, tried to wiggle it in the top, had to take it off. Wouldn't work.
Robert, I have a dirty mask because I've accidentally forgotten, right, that the mask was on and went to put something tasty in my mouth or bring the cup up to my mouth and try to drink something. And the mask enjoyed it far more than my mouth did. So I know what you mean. But the second thing about infection fatigue is that it wears us down and it causes us to take some risks that we think are calculated, but they're still risks. And this is the
Mm-hmm.
issue. I think that in the DMV, we were fortunate enough in the beginning to have leadership that had us masking early, social distancing, and because we were so diligent in most of the counties that were highly populated, we got our numbers under control. And so this summer, we were out hanging out outside and doing some things that felt good and close to normal. And now I think we've been lapsing a bit and it's gotten us to, kind of slip into this space where we believe that our pods are safe. What do you think?
I know that's exactly the case because there is a um, there's a finite amount of patience and
Yes,
diligence that the human body naturally can absorb.
right, right. And that's a great point. People who are sheltering in place alone can make a really strong case right now for wanting to take that calculated risk of going home for the holidays to see somebody, anybody, have some adult conversation, have just a little bit of physical touch, and be normal for just one weekend or get their kids away from the tablet or the TV. They've been thinking they're kind of saving up for Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? That they've been good for 8 months and
Yeah,
so, yeah, I'm saving up and I'm just going to splurge this one time and go to the Thanksgiving dinner. And, it does not help when our elders are compelling us to come home. So let's keep it real. You got a huge part of the vulnerable population that is still putting a hardcore press on their adult children to make the flight, make the drive, bring the kids to see them for the Thanksgiving holiday.
but you know what's the tragedy of this is because the rationalization that I hear is that, well, it's mom, it's grandma. I haven't seen her since this thing started, and I'm not
Preach.
about to miss Thanksgiving.
I'm not about to. That's that entitlement. And it's this vigilante attitude. But even more so, listen, I have a person in my life who's near and dear to my heart. His grandma, who helped to raise him, is turning 95 over the Thanksgiving holiday, and she put the guilt trip on sick leave. This might be the last time that you're going to get to see me. So get on that plane. If you miss this, holiday celebration, it's going to be some smoke in the city.
Hey,
But you
she
got to
trying
figure out, right? What do you want to
she
say?
she trying to guarantee it's gonna be the last time.
That's it. That's it. And I was just gonna say that in those moments you have to figure out: do you want to be the cause for sure of Nana not making it to the 96th birthday, or do you want to decide I'm going to take my hands off the steering wheel? Nana can be mad at me from afar, and figure out if something were to happen to her before we get the vaccine, before coronavirus is no longer a problem that keeps us from traveling the way we used to. Is this risk worth it? Is it worth it? I also think that people who haven't really experienced death or illness from coronavirus firsthand are really struggling to understand the gravity of the situation and how badly it feels for people who've had loved ones pass on from the virus. So if you and the people in your safe pod or in your household have been playing it safely, don't know anybody who's gotten really sick from it, don't know anybody who's died, you can definitely think, well, we've made it for 8 months. We don't know anybody. It's safe for us to actually have the family gathering. But the last thing that I want to warn people about, and just kind of make a push to think about that differently, is that it might not be your household that has an infectious celebration this Thanksgiving or Christmas. But by you deciding that you're going to skip traveling, skip going indoors to somebody's home that you haven't been in over the last 8 months, you might be saving a handful of your friends and loved ones by helping them make the decision, by leading by example, to not go to their celebration. And it would have been their celebration where an infected person was asymptomatic, and they would have passed it to their loved one, and their loved one would either end up in the hospital or the morgue.
Wait, and I know there are people who have said, well, we've been spared. I don't know anybody who's actually had it. Well, my
Yeah,
sister, one of my sisters called me on Saturday. She's been like the COVID police, and
yeah,
she gave a vivid example of one of her coworkers. One of the brothers of one of the coworkers got the disease, and two
yeah,
of the sisters went to visit. I guess out of obligation, family obligation. Well, if my brother he's sick, I need to go see him.
yeah,
One of both of them got the disease. One of the sisters died, and that was my sister's coworker. And
oh,
so she was calling me to say, basically, Robert, don't be tempted. Do not take the risk. And then, of
yeah,
course, as I mentioned on my show a few months ago, my good friend Patrick Ellis, the radio personality here in the DC area, we had
yes,
been together for 20 years as client and consultant. And that was about as close to home as I needed to
yes,
me to realize that this is not something that's abstract that's happening to other people over there or somebody down in New York that you never heard of. This is happening
yes,
in homes right around the corner. Many people don't tell you. They're too grieved. They are locked down, so they don't have the same exposure to even tell folks what has happened. So you got to look at you, protect you, and stop worrying about I don't know anybody. What? No, folks, it's real. This is not a joke. This is not a farce. This is not fake news. This is a real danger to our community. I'm sorry, Lena. I got you carried away a little.
no, you're fine because I'm bringing this home. And in wrapping this up, what I want people to understand about the difference between 8 months ago or 6 months ago and today, where we are encroaching upon Thanksgiving, is that when the pandemic first began and those stay at home orders went into place, many of us, particularly in the DMV, were vigilant about not visiting our friends, our family, our loved ones. We were starting to Zoom people, we were having cabin fever, but we were locked down and we were being safe. And it made a huge difference. This Thanksgiving, even for the people who believe that they're justified in ringing the alarm and going home, breaking the glass because they're just in crisis and they need some physical interaction and they need to check on mom or they need to check on granddad, everybody's going to be ringing the alarm at the same time. And that's the issue. The kids who have gone away to college are coming back right
Mm,
now. They're traveling on planes, trains, buses, in cars. And the universities are aware of the risk, so much so that most of the kids who are coming back from first semester are not returning for spring semester to campus. They're going to stay home and do virtual school until the summer or next year because to control the numbers after the kids have come home and been exposed to so many different people and then have to go back on their campus would just be almost impossible. So when you got the college kids coming back home and traveling, and other people who are deciding that they're going to splurge and take the risk traveling, and you've been safe for 8 months and you're traveling, what it's going to do is breed super spreading. And so, if it hasn't happened to anyone that you know over the last 8 months, you don't want this to be the opportunity that you took that would be the one that would unfortunately impact you, your family, your household, or someone that you love. So I'm asking everybody this holiday season to do a couple things. First thing we already talked about was to stay alert. Set a reminder on your phone, plug into social media, or turn on the news for just a couple minutes, one time a week, if you can bear it, to listen to what's happening around the coronavirus so that it can cause you to still continue to have that sense of urgency and know what to do in case of emergency because people are now being turned away from hospitals again. We had
Hmm.
seen that decrease, and you could go back into a hospital in case you got sick. But now it's to the point where people are getting the virus or they have symptoms and they want to come to the hospital. And the ERs are telling them you're going to have to stay home. And unless you've had a fever for 3 days, we don't have a bed to put you in. So you need to know what's going to happen in case you do get sick. So for that reason alone, make sure that you stay informed. The second thing is get tested. If you are going to brave your way to someone's home for Friendsgiving or Thanksgiving, be smart, get tested, and give it enough time so that you definitely have your COVID negative results before you enter someone's home. Once you get your negative results, quarantine, quarantine, quarantine until you go to that gathering. And do not be afraid to ask other friends and family members who are going to be there to get tested as well. We all have that crazy uncle or a mom or a sibling who's going to give you pushback and they don't want to get tested. And because of that, you either have to figure out how to stand up for yourself and say that we're either getting tested or we're not meeting. Or number three, stay home, have a Zoom Thanksgiving meeting. We have been looking for an excuse to get out of those awkward and uncomfortable family holidays. But because this year we can't do it, a lot of folks are romanticizing this idea that going home for the holidays is amazing. And it's only amazing for about an hour. And then after that, it goes downhill most years, Robert. So, what
Hey,
I'm asking people to do is
hey,
have your Zoom time. What's up?
they have the perfect excuse now. They didn't want to do it anyway. So now they,
They
they got,
didn't want to do it anyway, but it's so tempting now to idealize coming home when you have been on an 8 month drought or a year. Some of us haven't seen our families for longer than that because we didn't think that COVID was happening. So we hadn't seen our families at the beginning of the year before COVID actually hit. So I get it. Some folks haven't seen their families for over a year and they want to go home. But this time with the upsurge, is not necessarily the time to take the risk unless you put these measures in place. Last measure, if no one gets tested, if you still go home, you're operating on Holy Ghost power, which I completely believe in. When you get to that person's home, have a plan. Invest in a heating lamp, have your dinner out on the deck or the patio with some space heaters or a heating lamp. Open up the windows if you are indoors. Keep your mask on until you eat. When you eat, stay 6 feet apart, particularly from people that you do not know. And as tacky as some people think this is, now is the time to use those paper plates, plastic forks, spoons, and knives. Those things have proven to help some families get through COVID gatherings where later they found out that somebody was asymptomatic but positive and everybody else tested and they were negative. So if you can use those precautions, we just might make it to 2021 alive.
God have mercy. Wayna, you have delivered a message that many people needed to hear. And like I say, yeah, some people don't want to hear it. But
I
look, folks,
know.
as I said earlier, some of y'all didn't want to go home and you haven't gone home for Thanksgiving in 20 years. You had every excuse under the sun. Well, my back went out, my car. Now you got a great excuse. There's a pandemic. I might die. I might kill you. So what better excuse than that? So thanks again. Thanks again, Wayne. Folks, I'm gonna jump right in here. When you got a few more seconds, you have to jump. I
Go
just want to
ahead,
jump
Robert.
in. I'm going to jump into these quickly, these year-end strategies, because many business owners out here who are tuning in, you're actually scratching your head. And like, what am I supposed to do now? It's a pandemic. Well, I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier and welcome to the show, Brother Caldwell. he said his family using telephone and Zoom, which many families are going to be doing. You set that camera up in one corner, and check this out, folks. You can actually use multiple cameras. You can have one person can put their camera on this side of the table, another person can put their camera on that side so they can get everybody's face, and you can have like 4 or 5 cameras going. That's going to be the most fun holiday. It's going to be really exciting. We had our family reunion this past September. Man, that was one of the best family reunions I've ever had. We had 50 family members there on that stream. Some I
Oh,
hadn't seen even when we were doing the regular way. It was easier. That family out in New York, that one down in Florida, the one out in Missouri,
yeah.
they were there. It was like, oh my goodness, I haven't seen cousin this person since forever. So, folks,
And
this
you
can
get to
be
visit them
actually
in their home, right? You get to actually get a tour of their house if you want, and it saves money.
you're right. And the grandma who never came because of her mobility issues, you could see her over
Yeah.
there in the corner waving, the little kids running around you've never seen before. Folks, make this into a positive. That's the bottom line. Weena has done an excellent job of painting the picture of some of the bad things that can happen, but she's actually put a positive spin on this. This can be a good experience and a great Thanksgiving holiday. We want to see you when the Christmas and Hanukkah and
Yeah.
Ramadan and all the other holidays roll around, when the New Year rolls
Right.
around, Valentine's Day. Let's not make this into a death march and Thanksgiving. Let's make this into a example setting time of how we plan to move forward in this pandemic. This is a good time to set that example of how to be safe going forward. So thanks again, Wayne. And to you business owners out here who are scratching your head saying, now, how am I going to make this money? This pandemic out here outside my door. Well, I gave you the 2 words. It does not matter what business you are in. You think safety, and not just think safety and practice safety. You have to project safety to your audience, to your stakeholders, your clients, your vendors, your suppliers, your contractors, your employees. You have to project that we are taking steps to protect your safety and your health. If you are not doing that, I'm telling you, you are not performing at optimum level. You're not going to get the sales that you need to survive this pandemic, and you really stand the risk of failing. I'm just going to put it point blank. If you don't have safety as part of your marketing strategy and your messaging, you are missing out and you are likely to fail. I hate to be so blunt about it, but it is true. Now, also, as we talked about these Zoom Thanksgiving dinners and so forth, you have to start thinking virtual. And virtual is not a 4 letter word. I'm counting over here. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. The seven. It's seven. It's a 7 letter word. Virtual is not a bad word. Virtual is actually going to help your business. You should have
Yes.
been moving towards virtual pre-pandemic, but this has caused us to escalate and move at a faster pace. And it's
Yes.
not going to go away when the pandemic is over. So
No,
every
it's not.
dollar you invest in virtual technology right now is going to be useful after the fact. So don't feel like this is an extra expense. This is an expense that's going to help you survive in the future, pandemic or not. Now, there are certain industries that tend to strive, that tend to excel during the holidays. Handyman, home cleaning services, carpet cleaners, people like that, pest control companies. Now, pest control companies, you're going to have a more difficult time because a lot of times people are cleaning those houses, getting the bugs killed because families are going to be coming through. Same thing with cleaning companies. But your home, that home has to be cleaned anyway because there are many people that haven't cleaned their home since this pandemic started. To you home cleaning companies, carpet cleaners, so forth, and even pest control companies, let people know it's time to clean that house and that you can come in there and do it safely. Take pictures of your workers with the mask on, show, put it on your website. So when I call your company, I'm going to feel like, yes, I need this house cleaned. I need these bugs killed. I need that carpet vacuumed. But the person that's coming out is going to come out. They're not going to bring COVID in. They're going to take COVID out. You have to have them convinced that that's what's going to happen. Now, Christmas is right on the heels of Thanksgiving. Many of you are kind of late to the party marketing for Thanksgiving, even though it's still opportunity. And also now because of virtual services, the startup to get ready for certain seasons is not as steep as it used to be. In the old days, you got to print stuff, you got to get. Well, now you could turn these marketing campaigns around on a day's notice. You can go on Facebook and post. You can create an Instagram app. Ad. You can do these things now with almost no lead time. So don't drop that old model in the past where you had to start planning and doing your ads like 3 months in advance because it's too late. Well, because of technology, because of Zoom, because of these new apps, you still have time to take advantage of Thanksgiving because the industry, the technology now allows you to turn advertising campaigns around a lot quicker and reach hundreds of people on a smaller budget. So start thinking about different ways to advertise and how you can turn things around. You're more flexible. Also, gift certificates are still good buy. A gift certificate is still a very good buy. Think about your service. And also, when you think about a gift certificate, keep using the words safety and virtual. You hair salons, you meal services, you authors, recording artists, web designers, auto shops, whomever you are. Think about how you can make somebody's life easier and better by giving them a gift certificate, and make sure that when you give them that gift certificate, that company has taken safety measures. So I'm telling you folks, I'm setting this up for you. I'm setting this up for you to take advantage of. I'm going to be telling everybody who listens to this show to deal with companies who are taking safety measures. And you want to be one of those companies. Health spas, personal trainers, we talked about. Those are some of the most likely places you can get this disease. So what I want you to do, the people who are in these three industries we talked about earlier, restaurants, gyms, hotels, you have to start thinking hard and long right now. Don't wait until this thing falls and caves in on you. You have an uphill battle. But in every instance I have ever been when it came to marketing, every challenge creates opportunity. Somebody's going to rise above this opportunity, above this challenge, and they're going to come out of this much stronger. While you're sitting there saying it happened to me, somebody is grabbing this bull by the horn, and they're going to come out this a lot better. That company should be you. And all you tax companies, weight loss companies, let's start thinking about it right now. Right after Christmas, here comes the weight loss season. And let me tell you something, folks. Everybody I know has gained 10 pounds since this pandemic.
The COVID-19. Thank you very much. Not 10, 19.
I'm telling you, it is a boom waiting out here for people who are in the weight loss, health, equipment industry. Take advantage of this. Think safety, think virtual, think technology. There is a gold mine waiting out here in the weight loss industry that usually takes its peak at January anyway. It's going to be that much more pronounced this year. So also start thinking now, you tax preparers and people of that line, start putting yourself out here now to provide these virtual services where people are getting their tax returns, have places where they can drop those tax returns off without having to come meet you face to face, online services. Start thinking safety and virtual, and don't wait until the thing starts to bite you in the you know what. We have time to correct this and make these adjustments right now. So folks, your year-end strategy, the year-end is upon us. Thanksgiving is usually the official kickoff of the end of the year in the holiday season. Take this time to be reflective and think about what you can do to be strategic. 2 words: safety and virtual. I don't care what your service is. Use those 2 words in your marketing, and you're going to see an uptick in your service. And then do this. Don't just use safety as a marketing term. Use safety as a policy. I'm not going. I'm going to emphasize that enough. I would be derelict in my duty. It would be malpractice for me to sit here and tell you to use safety in your marketing in your marketing literature if you're not being safe. Get that extra equipment, get those masks, get those things that you need to make those customers safe, and start using it. Do it. Don't just talk about it. Be about it. Folks, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I want to thank my co-host today, Weena. Thank you again. You always over-deliver. What do you say? You under-promise and over-deliver, and I really appreciate that. And you have been a great addition to the show. I look forward to next third Friday in December. And also, everybody who's tuning in, you can find out more about me and my company, Gatewiood Marketing and Web. Go to gatewioodmarketing.com. I'm going to make one more entreaty about caregivers. This is National Caregivers Month. If you know somebody who is a caregiver who's taking care of somebody who's infirm or sick or whatever the reason, let's show them some love. Let's show them some love. The marketing pulpit is offering to give them a free Thanksgiving dinner. If you know such a person, by all means, you can send their information to me. I'm going to put my information across the screen again so you can see how you may contact me. And we will actually either arrange for a pickup or have that food delivered if you're in the DC area. I wish we could do this across the country, but we don't have the capacity to meet right now. Not yet. But if you're in the DC area, then we'll actually be able to help somebody get a Thanksgiving meal, because I want to enjoy my meal. I'm not going to enjoy my meal if I'm sitting there stuffing down turkey and dressing, knowing that there's somebody else out here who would love to do the same, but are not able to. I think that's going to wrap up the show. Any closing thoughts there, Weena?
Nope, I think you've done an amazing job today, and I hope that everybody is prepared to make great decisions for the holiday season and is thinking about the things that they are grateful for.
Thank you very much. And also on that offer, if you don't have to be a caregiver, if you just know someone who is struggling and they just want some bright spot this holiday season, we'll be glad to offer them a delicious meal courtesy of Kirksey Catering. They're going to be providing the food and the delivery. We have our own delivery mechanisms in place, and we can also have it picked up at our office here in Largo, Maryland. So if you know of somebody, we'd be glad to do that. This is our way of saying thank you to our listeners. And we're all about giving back here, and we want to make sure people are safe and everybody has a happy holiday. That's going to wrap up the show for today. Thank you again for listening. For everybody around the world, this is the Marketing Pulpit radio and TV show. Go to marketingpulpit.com. Follow us, like us, and share this information with others. And if you want to be successful, you have to do these three things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you got to do it right. Enough talk. Folks, let's get to work.
Rayford Lee Brown Sr. I am the owner and founder of B&B Cleaning Services, LLC. We are a janitorial floor cleaning and property maintenance business.